Podcast.
Welcome in, you cheap beggars, to Discount, the bargain bin gaming podcast hosted by three people so small you'd think we'd be put inside of a GameCube.
We be.
Those adorable little discs.
Yes, little mini discs. Yes, we are a bargain bin gaming podcast where we fight for the best bargain games. I am one of your hosts, and my piece of Eden is in another chapel. My name's Josh. I'm plugging into player 2.
And he stood upon the mound, commandments in hand. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not pay less than retail price for a Switch game. I'm Darren, hello. And starting a whole new religion of our own and gaining a concerning amount of followers.
I'm returning from a 3-day bender and pretending I've come back from the dead. His Keris.
Hey, yes. And what I like is that the piece of Eden was in a chapel. Because, you know, in the Vatican, it's just a chapel.
It is, yeah.
Just a little chapel.
Yeah, little chapel.
Little chapel, yeah.
Little chapel.
Same
A
as the rest.
little chapel. That's you.
I got the impression.
A little chapel, mate, is Josh.
Absolutely.
Love Oliver Twist.
Absolutely riddled with Cockney.
Absolutely riddled.
With Cockney. Not just riddled.
Cockney.
Not just riddled.
Oh, we let Karis go out in the sun for like 20 minutes, and boy,
I'm renewed.
She's
I'm
charged.
refreshed. I'm Cockney.
I thought you said you're repressed.
I am
She's
refreshed.
solar charged, and I gotta be honest.
He's solar charged.
Jesus
God,
Christ.
I thought she was literally gonna go to Bugsy Malone. We're gonna be anything that we wanted to be.
That's you. That's what you sound like.
My God, what's this podcast about, Josh?
Not about Keris talking ever again.
About Keris talking ever again.
Right, we got the joke.
I'm enjoying myself.
Yes, we are here, and each week, well, every other episode, we fight for the best budget game after getting a weird topic from our random genre generator to help us purchase the games that we're going to fight against. And we buy each other different games. Winner doesn't really matter. Loser will have a challenge at the end of the season. And then, yeah, that's what we're here for. But yes, I was going to ask how everyone's doing, but I think we've got enough from Keris to sort of gauge where we're at.
Yes.
Would you say?
We're doing good. Yeah.
We're doing well. It's still surprisingly sunny, still surprisingly
Lovely.
warm, still delightful.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
it's bloody beautiful.
Yeah. Anyway, before we look back at what we're doing, well, not look back, but go forwards with what we're doing with this episode, should we look back at last time's episode and go into the vault and see what we have put in there? Can you
How
open
do
it?
you do a Cockney vault sound?
I don't know.
I think that'll do.
mean,
Open the door, open the
know.
door. Man, this joke is wearing thin.
I, in my head went, how would you do it? And then remembered I can't do accents, and I have to, hard stop myself and go, it's not worth it.
Accents.
Oh, you're doing vastly better than I would.
Well, I didn't want to say anything, but yes, we are looking back at last episode. Firstly, which was names with games with the same first letter, same first letter games, first letter same games, game less for first letter, where we bought each other games with the same first letter. So Keris got bought Control, because again with C. Darren got bought Doom Eternal, and then alphabetically Jay was last, so I got bought Judgment. And those are the three games that were purchased.
Good games.
I think that's fair to say. It was a good episode, really, for games purchases.
It was very cool.
There was one game that definitely fell a little short from how Darren represented it, I think, comparatively to the other two.
Yeah.
But the rest were very well received. But we asked, obviously, the public what they thought, and our player thoughts what they thought should go into the vault, which was the best of those three games. Was it Judgment? Was it Control? Was it Doom Eternal? And they have got back to us, but I'm just curious what you guys think was the best game of last episode. Which game would you potentially have put in the vault of them?
I'm biased because I enjoyed Control so much and I continue to enjoy Control. So for me, I would pick that.
That's fair enough.
I would have said Judgment because it's mostly my vibe. I would have thought the audience might go the direction of Control or Doom Eternal, just because they're more... Not to call our audience fucking casuals. They're the sort of more mainstream, more wider reaching games.
I think it's fair to say that probably Doom Eternal is the most mainstream,
Exactly,
most
yeah.
widely known and
Widely
recognised.
popular game.
Yeah, Control is probably next on the list, and then Judgment is probably bottom of that.
Yeah.
But I would say that the core people we engage with are massive Yakuza fans. For some reason, everyone just buys into it.
I really thought you were going to go with losers there.
No, that's just the people who make the podcast are just massive losers. But they are huge Yakuza fans, which is why they in fact choose Judgment as our Vault
stuff.
game. I think this is one of the best games we'll be sticking in the Vault as well.
Probably, yeah.
Not the best, I don't think. So we also do have Red Dead Redemption 2 in there, which is...
Yeah. And Hades.
And Hades. That's a good game. But
And Resident
Judgment
Evil 7.
and Resident Evil
there,
7. Judgment's going in there. So well done, Darren, for choosing the best game from last episode. Thank you, everyone, for voting that. We're going to stick that in the vault, and that will be played at some point on Twitch in the future when we get through all of our things.
Does it like ceremonially just kick Blood Bowl and like in the balls as it goes past?
I hope so.
Dragon Ball Z Fighters, whatever the fuck that game was called, in a line.
Yeah.
Establish dominance in the vault.
There are certain games in the vault that are bad,
That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
and that is probably because
They're generally pretty good.
we only chose bad games that
Yeah.
episode. So it's our own fault. But yes, in the hole you go with Judgment.
hole.
Should we close up the vault and move into the actual episode to
Yeah.
get forwards? I can't remember what I'm meant to be doing.
Lovely.
I couldn't remember what the next soundbite was, and really, it didn't matter because it's exactly the same and exactly the same length.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's because they, like, that one you really want to be named as we lead into it. Close the vault. It's named like the next bit.
Yeah.
So you have to be like, right, where do we go after
So
closing the vault?
after that, we are going into the genre.
Hey,
yes, there we are. So into the genre. This is where we'll be discussing the game that we've bought and the topic that was bought and the topic that was picked by Darren from the random genre generator. What was it, Keris?
Religion.
It was indeed religion, and now we'll turn across to our resident religion expert, Darren. What is religion?
Oh, it's fucking gods and stuff. I feel really, like, normally I'm not qualified to discuss. I feel really underqualified on the question of what is religion.
I mean, this is a real philosophical change up in our thing. We're now going to be discussing the concept of religion for the next 20 minutes, so strap in, everyone.
Gods and shit, innit?
Gods and shit, innit?
Gods and shit in it.
I mean, I think religion can be any sort of belief, normally where there is some sort of deity involved,
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah, but I would say that's more of a faith, wouldn't it?
I think
religion
I think
comes into the organised concept.
Well, I looked up the definition of it during the purchasing,
Okay.
and it was like the worship. I don't think it said it had to be organised or otherwise, but generally the worship of a deity or deities
Okay.
is sort of the core part of religion.
Part of religion, but then obviously, I suppose then you can
There's so many more elements to it as well.
Then there's other ones where you don't have gods or anything like that, and then it is a faith, but then it's like a faith, not a religion. It's a big overarching thing, and some people say that gaming's their religion. You never know. I don't think any of us have gone that loose in the...
You do say that.
Good.
Just...
Good for you.
Oh, wine is my religion.
Oh, wine mom.
Yeah.
Okay. Live, laugh, love, hun.
Yeah,
Snakes
that's
everywhere.
my
Jeremy.
that's my commandments on the tablet.
Is it?
Live, laugh,
One,
love,
live. Thou shalt live. Thou shalt love.
Thou shalt laugh.
Yeah, that's it.
Thanks, hun. X.
XOXO
shalt thank
Gossip
their
Girl. Oh, sorry, Gossip God. Gossip God is what it should be. XOXO Gossip
Good,
God. It's so really religion's quite overarching. There's quite a lot of titles this sort of touch. We won't go into all the things we thought about getting. I think we just go into the games we've got, and then we can discuss afterwards
at the end.
the games we thought about purchasing.
Yeah.
We now need to remember what order these games arrived in. And I think two arrived on the same day.
Yeah.
I think you opened yours first, didn't you?
I think so. That would make me first. I just know mine was very upsettingly
Last
again.
Yeah, you purchased it so early, but it came last. It was you. Yeah. So, Darren, you received your game first.
I did.
From you, Karis, wasn't it?
Yes.
Reach.
No, it wasn't.
No,
From you.
it was from you.
From you, Josh.
Oh,
From what
I-
I bought.
Curveballs.
Reach into my bag beside me.
Your sacragique.
So the first game I received, was The Sinking City. Pop that there.
Interesting title.
Sinking City.
Yeah.
Yeah. You play as... His name is Charles Reed. I was desperately trying to remember what his name was, but I just remembered someone calls him Charlie and he doesn't like it. So his name is Charles Reed and he's been having weird Cthulhu-y visions, is how I'll
does he
describe
not?
it.
Does he not like the name Charid?
No.
Oh, okay.
He has weird Cthulhu visions, and he goes to the city of Oakmont, which is partially flooded. It rains all the fucking time. And he's basically been invited there by a doctor whose name I cannot remember.
It's a shame that we couldn't make a joke about how it's like it's here raining all the time when it's the one time of the year it's sunny.
But it's basically like the visions and that sort of thing are very much going on here. And he's a private investigator, so he's going around basically solving crimes, solving issues for the people of the city, and going around and trying to get to the bottom of what's happening. Like, there's weird aberrations around causing trouble. There are people who are not quite human. There is a what I'll call an upperclassman who is distinctly apish. Okay. And there is a race of people called the Innsmouthers who are fishish.
Right.
Not the best way I could have said that, but I committed to it. Have fish-like qualities.
They're fish?
They're fish people. But this basically takes the form of a detective game. The thing it reminded me most of was how Hitman plays, actually.
Oh, really?
Not in terms of its actual mechanic.
Okay, that's
but in terms of the way that, like, you get the map and there's basically nothing on it.
Right.
You have, like, a couple of notable areas and that's it.
That's it. So it's got sections you can go into.
Yeah,
so almost like set moments to go
but
through.
It will be like you get a clue and it's like there was this investigation and the only survivor was sent to the hospital. So you go to the hospital because that's one of the few places you have marked. And the guy there is like, we were on like this diving expedition. And you say, where did you buy your diving equipment? Because I want to go down and see what was going on. It's like, we bought them on this road between such and such.
So then you go
onto the map and you have to mark that manually and go over there. And like most of it's flooded, so you sail from area to area. Some of it's good, some of it's obtuse. But I think I'll get onto that more in entertainment. But it's generally you do that, you unravel sort of the mysteries that are going on and all the issues going on. And so some nice detective-y times.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, and Cthulhu-esque stuff.
Yeah. He has weird visions.
Cool. So he's a paranormal investigator rather than a private investigator, but he's still a PI.
He's not really investigating the paranormal.
But it's
happening.
Okay.
But like he is experiencing it. But the things he is investigating are generally quite normal.
Fair enough. That's cool. So that was the first one, Sinking Cities. The next person to receive their game was myself from Keris, who continued the same first letter thing, but from the purchaser, and bought me Cult of the Lamb.
Hey.
I was making sure it wasn't the Cult of the Lamb then, just to throw me off. But no, it's definitely Cult of the Lamb, because when you choose your name, you are cult of something that you put in your little title, and that's like your save files with different words. Like mine was Cult of the Pod and Cult of the Moon, depending on what I was doing.
Okay.
So Cult of the Lamb. It's a cozy game. It's the strangest cozy game there is, where you are sacrificed to the old ones. You then offer. He says he'll send you back if you sort of spread his name, and you come back, and then you basically create a little community. Building worship idols and creating sermons, and then clear the area up and build and dig and recruit more people, build that side, and then you go into little, I suppose it's a Metroidvania almost style thing, isn't it? I don't know how you describe it, because you're going into different blind areas. And
more roguelike.
Roguelike's the word I'm looking for, sorry, yeah. It is a roguelike where you're going into different areas, you're not sure what weapons you're going to get, you can get different ones as you go through with different abilities, and you slowly fight your way up to then take over the old four gods to then, do what you need to do to make him the champion person. But you are running your own little cult, and you're a little sheep boy. And that's pretty much Cult of the Lamb. It was a hit from last year, wasn't it? For a lot of people, it featured in my top 5. But yeah, that's basically what the game is, without going into much further detail on it. But it's cute 2D style drawings, and it's got a nice ambience with it. The music's fun. The little missions and side missions, you've got lots of stuff going on there, and it's even got a little mini game of I think it's Knucklebones. Yeah, where it's called
the dice game.
The dice game, which is also a lot of fun. But Cult of the Lamb, the purchase from Keris. The last person to receive their thing, and I think, to be honest, bear in mind we recorded this on a Sunday, I think it was. I think yours was the last one to arrive, Darren. I think it arrived on the Wednesday or the Thursday, something like that. It was very close after. But it still arrived last. So, Karis,
it's me.
Karis, what did you receive? All right, sorry, build suspense. Sorry, I'll get quiet. Go on.
I had a frog in my throat.
No, you're fine. I'm just...
Drum roll.
What is it? We know what it is.
I got God of War.
God of War. The 2018 God of War as well. To make it clear.
Yes.
So, what's God of War?
God of War is fucking class,
Cool.
okay? God of War is...
She's not hiding any opinions right now.
No, really going in strong.
God of War is a game that is based on Norse mythology. It's set in the Scandinavia.
Hell yeah.
In ancient Scandinavia, in the realm of Midgard. And it follows basically Kratos and his son Atreus after the death of his second wife, Faye, who says that she wants her ashes scattered on the highest peak in the Nine Realms, and they try
that's quite demanding.
It is it's a pretty big request.
Women, am I right?
Obviously, we know that Kratos is a god from the title,
a demigod,
and all the way through. Well,
God.
Yeah.
He is a god.
Yeah. He's not like God by lineage. He's God by
choice.
Not God by nature, God by nurture.
Yes.
And basically, they go on their quest to kind of scatter the ashes. He's trying to keep the fact that he's a god from Atreus, and they meet various like gods, monsters, and everything that try to stop them on their way there.
And it's a story of father-son relationship, isn't it? And that's sort of its big focus. Mm-hmm. For the narrative side of things.
Yeah.
Not saying that's the big focus of it, but I'm saying narratively it's the story of a father and a son trying to reconnect after the loss of the mother.
Yes.
Yes. And those are the three games.
Yep.
A nice showing, I would say.
It's good, yeah.
It's a good showing of games.
Strong set.
Yeah.
Any sort of games you were looking at purchasing that you didn't end up going for in the end? Because I think we all purchased quite quickly. So I just wondering if anyone else had any other Star ones.
I only really looked at one other game,
okay,
which is sad because it is a PC only game. But I looked at like Black and White 2.
Yep,
that sort of style of thing. There's like a digital only game called Reyes, I think it's called.
Okay,
which is like you have a land and you control these titans who build up parts of the land and allow sort of people to grow.
Yeah,
and like society to grow. And that is sort of cool in that regard, but I sort of arrived on the avenue of God of War, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's the one.
And was that the one you wanted, that God of War, over, like, you know, I know the other ones are like PS3, aren't
so
they?
like the other ones are harder to pick up as well, but that one I thought, especially because I thought it would resonate better, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's fair. Karis, did you have any others that you were looking at?
I had a few, yeah. I'm just trying to look at what the... so I thought about, like, Fallout 3, because of the children of the children of Atom. I thought about
which is a great game as well. Assassin's Creed is where I went down as well, with the Ezio collection potentially going down that line.
I actually thought about something from the Halo series as well.
But obviously that's Xbox, so we don't really have that.
Yeah, with the Covenant. So
that was an angle I hadn't really thought to go down, of like established religions within the game.
All right.
I just hadn't really sort of considered that avenue of it.
Yeah, and then there were a bunch of others that I looked at as well, and I can't remember what they are now, but they ended up being digital only anyway, so it wasn't something that I could
Fair enough.
do.
Yeah, I think digital only was there a lot. I mean, I was looking at a game called I'm Jesus Christ, but that's not even out yet, where you play as Jesus.
I want to play that so fucking bad. I want to play that so fucking bad.
I was also, again, as I said, Assassin's Creed. I looked at another game called The Council, where again it's sort of this culty style thing. You got the Resi games again with like culty. So I was looking at culty stuff, and then I also thought about Cthulhu, which is where I ended up with Sinking City. And I was looking at Call of Cthulhu was the other game I was looking at, and I decided on Sinking City purely because it was slightly cheaper, but also it had better reviews. So I thought, I'm not going to go for the one which still says Cthulhu with the title. I'll just go for the one which has elements of it in there. Because I feel like the cult aspect of something is enough to be like a religion. Was what I was going like. That feels more religion-y than, you know, I don't know, Assassin's Creed felt religion-y, but there were other ones where I was like, it's sort of mentioned in passing. It's like Dead Space, for example, where they've got the, not buying Dead Space again, but obviously you've got that cult in there as well, which is sort of in passing, and obviously your wife is part of it, but it's not, it's not
like a big focus.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are our 3 games. So we will be now fighting over 4 subjects, 4 topics, which will be most accurate, value for money, most entertaining, and play of the game. So should we just get into it and start fighting over who deserves to win?
Do it.
Cool, let's all fight.
Round 1, fight!
He's almost got it. He's almost got it right now.
The worst part of that is it's the one time I didn't actually say it, but I nearly fucking nailed it.
You nearly did. I can see your head bobbing like, this is...
I know where this is somewhere.
What I'm meant to be doing now. So should we look at most accurate first? So obviously the topic is religion. We sort of established what religion is, and we've got 3 games loosely touching on religion or more heavily focusing on religion.
Yeah.
Anyone want to jump in first? I think I'll let Darren go first because I think I know which one's the least likely to win this, and I think it's the one I purchased.
Yeah. It's got that avenue of like the sort of the Lovecraftian side of things, like Cthulhu and that. The only thing I'd say that goes against it in that sense is that nobody is worshipping it.
Okay.
And it's almost the funniest aspect of the game is that nobody really seems to be acknowledging it much at all.
Okay.
There's like these weird sort of like Lovecraftian creatures and people having these visions, but they're like, oh god, that's a fucking pain, isn't it?
So it's more like modern religion.
There's like these little creatures that sort of scutter around and these little fucking like aberration things. People are like, oh, that's a nuisance. That's in my basement. They're really just putting me out of fucking business.
God damn, these rats are disgusting.
Guys, there's like a god level threat approaching you and you're all just like, oh. Like the city's half flooded and there's a guy outside his house just fishing. I'm like, mate, the world is clearly ending. The fuck are you on?
So, although there is like the Cthulhu-esque and it's clearly centered around, did you finish the game at all?
I got like a third of the way in, so I'm sort of understanding how the mechanics are working in it, and there are various parties in play, but nobody's really worshipping it. It seems like much more of a class-based structure than a religion-based structure. Okay,
fair enough. Because there wasn't well, do you know if there's any more in there? It was more like, I didn't think it was going to have a lot of that in there, but I was just curious.
There's like the aspect of like the mythos in there. Like people went on a diving expedition and found like this supernatural tablet thing that made everyone go crazy, and I think stemmed a lot of these visions from.
Right.
And like there's a lot of stuff like that, but there isn't this absolute here are people worshipping this deity, etc.
I do feel like a lot of Lovecraftian and Cthulhu mythology, if people aren't aware of Lovecraftian style of things, they don't tend to openly acknowledge what's going on. You tend to find it's like this sort of space, like distortion. Like, I mean, Dredge was a game we played quite recently, which... although they're aware of it, they're sort of like, this just happens. This just happens. It seems like, let's ignore it, let's pretend it didn't occur.
They're like, oh, that's a fucker, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Which is a shame, because I thought it would have a bit more there. I don't know why I focused on Cthulhu when I was purchasing, but yeah. Karis.
Yeah. Okay, so I think...
Do you need some help? You're falling asleep then?
I am a little sleepy.
You expended all of your energy in the first 2 minutes.
I did. The cockney accent really took it out of me. No.
How do you think it feels being me every day? I'm knackered constantly.
I mean, to be fair, it's the arm swinging that gets you. It's the amount of energy that must take. It's just
working from home is a nightmare. But yeah,
God of War,
God of War. Oh my good God.
Okay, so this one's an interesting one actually, because obviously, stop it. Religion is absolutely a part of it, but you are a part of the religion, if that makes sense. So you are a focal point of this religion.
Yeah.
And in the sense that I don't know that anybody's actually like worshipping you or anything like that. It's a different side to religion, where I guess where you are involved in the stories that would make up that religion, rather than it being about the religion itself, because it's obviously centered around the gods and the but
and canonically I don't think there's anyone left in Greece to worship him.
No, Not at this point, no. He's basically, but also we don't really know what, because we're in a different realm, aren't we? We're not in those, and we go to different ones during this game.
Yeah.
But we never go to, I can't remember what the name of the one for Earth is, essentially.
It's Midgard, isn't it?
Is it Midgard? Is it Midgard?
It's like
Okay. I don't know if it is.
I think it is.
It might be, I can't remember. But it feels like we're not in an area where there is overly populous by humans.
Yeah.
We don't get anything like that.
Yeah, so it depends on what we think, really, because on one hand, I think it's very accurate, and on the other hand, I'm like, if you're part of the story that builds the religion, does that religion exist yet?
I suppose it's like, and also this is different to, like, it's not canonically religion or anything like that. You are changing what religion actually is in this game. Not that makes a huge difference, but it's clear that because you are gods, there is no denying that this is a religious game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I picked it as well because its roots are in real world sort of mythology and religions and that, like with the Greek that he comes from and with the Norse that he's in.
Yeah.
And I thought also, like, it's along those lines of games like Black and White that I was looking at, where you are yourself a god and you spend the game interacting with gods and such, forming that path of that religion.
I think it's because it's so rooted in things that exist, or mythology that exists in any case. I think it's pretty damn accurate, yeah.
I would argue that the game I'm going to talk about now, Cult of the Lamb, is more accurate for religion. So obviously this is a whole game where there are gods, you are a speaker of God, and then you are creating people to worship a religion. The whole thing about this is you deliver sermons to get boosts, you sacrifice people, you create stuff to enhance and build this religion. I know we're talking about you're making religion there. This is like showing people, and it's the organisational side of religion, which is, I suppose, in my head, more how I view religion, which is in a church or anything like that, where people are coming together. And I mean, this is going to be religion tends to have more of a negative context than a faith or a belief in my head, because it tends to be that you could be corrupted by someone else telling you what to do.
Yeah.
This is exactly that. This is corrupting people, sacrificing people, marrying people in your community, marrying multiple people if you want to. This is all about building, and you do see gods in this, that what these creatures are, and you do interact with them. The difference between, I think, Cult of the Lamb and God of War is that there is a very big focus on what the religion is here, and that you are making it. So although there is stories, because Atreus looks back at like the lore and the history of the giants and all the Jotunheim and all of those, I think that this is very much you are building religion from the ground up to then expand further, and you're constantly recruiting people to believe more and more of that.
Yeah. As much as I want to fight, I'm pretty convinced by that, to be honest. Like, if the topic was mythology,
yes,
God of War has it. But if the topic is religion, and it's this idea of it being structured, and, like, I'd forgotten that an aspect of the game is you go to church and you worship the god, and that's pretty fucking religious,
That is, like, you're delivering sermons or whatever the other bits are.
And so I think in terms of, like, religion, especially as early on we established it as, like, is religion more of the organised aspect of it? This is what this is. You are running the organised concepts of a religion.
Yeah.
So just to confirm, we are throwing Sinking Cities out of the equation.
Yeah, fuck it.
It's not happening. So, Cult of the Lamb for the first point?
I think so, yeah. I think so.
Do you? Point for Keris then?
Point.
I think so.
I feel...
For a minute, I forgot that meant I got a point.
You were like,
I was like...
If the two of you insist, I guess so.
No, I got really confused then, because I forgot how the format of this worked. And I thought that meant you got a point. So I was like, yeah, okay, that's really accurate. And then you were like, do you? And I was like,
so yeah, just
why
to
are you
clarify,
looking at me like that?
First three categories go to the person who bought the game, because they're the person who purchased it. I think the last one goes to the person who played the game. I thought that would just have to repeat that for the listeners, not the people hosted it. But, here we are.
I'm tired.
I'll be honest, Karen forgot because she didn't understand the rules. I forgot because I forgot, like, who bought which one.
Yes.
So I was like going, who the fuck bought that? It's on the table, but who bought it?
I only joined this podcast in season 2, guys, now.
Yeah, what episode is this?
Good question.
15, 16?
Yeah.
8, though, for battling?
8 or 9, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, shall we move on to the next topic, which is value for money?
Value for moolas.
Yeah.
Do we want to do it in reverse order of where they came from?
Yeah.
Sure.
So last one we got was God of War. Was last
Okay.
How much did you spend on God of War?
God of War cost me a very respectable £6.64.
Fuck me. We already know who's going to win this. £6.64
£6.64.
for a completionist run through. You're looking about 51 hours. all style, so between like mains and sides, is about 32 and a half hours. So mains and sides, if you're doing all that bit, it's 32 and a half hours. I think Completionist might be getting every little bit of collectible. I don't know, but 32 to 34 hours, somewhere around there, feels right for that game for £6.60. The next one to arrive was Cult of the Lamb. Mm-hmm. How much did you spend on that? You don't remember, do you?
I can't remember. You've got it on there somewhere.
No, I don't. But yeah, I know how much it is. It was £21.
21, okay.
You spent on that, which is quite an expensive game, but it is brand new for physical. Yeah. For 22 hours for Completionist, it says.
Yeah, that's fair for Cult of the Lamb, I think.
Yeah, I think that is. And I genuinely think you go through that and you enjoy that time for the most part.
I think it's a good 22 hours.
Yeah, you're getting your value. The reason is it's cheaper probably online digital now, but a physical copy is more expensive. But, it's nice to have the physical copy.
It is.
And the last one, which I bought for £11.95, so almost twice the amount of God of War, is Sinking Cities, which takes about 26 hours for mains and sides, or 32 and a half hours completionist. Which is longer than you thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I played a bit of it and I'm like, God, how long is this going to be? And like, I could see it on the screen. It says 26 from inside. I'm like, oh Jesus.
Which I thought when I purchased it for £12, I had done quite a good job. I thought that was a good value for what that is. I thought that was going to do well. But realistically, God of War for £6 and being the most game content.
It's pretty good.
It's hard
got to be, isn't it?
The only thing I would say is I think there's a lot more replayability to Cult of the Lamb.
I think so.
And that's the only thing, but because of the cost, I don't think there's a way we can justifiably say it's going to win this.
Yeah.
God of War, I feel, is a once-through game, whilst Cult of the Lamb is, you can start it many times and just be a different guy each time to a degree,
Yeah, my worry with that is I feel like it would... Each start of Cult of the Lamb would be nice and different and enjoyable. You try and approach it in a different way, but because of the style of the game, you'd always end up distilling to, I built the third type of manure plant.
I do think there's about two or so real runs you can do. One which is like a bit more for the people, and one which is a bit more for the sacrificing, and a bit more dicky. But yeah, that's what I think we give the point to God of War. It has to go to God of War. There's not even a discussion.
We're not even really fighting this episode.
No.
We're all pretty happy.
No, I mean, I think the issue is we normally have a bit more discussion because there's a bit more like it's nuanced in the differences there.
Yeah.
But with God of War clearly being the cheapest and the longest, there is no room for arguments.
In Most Accurate, one of the games is about running a religion. In Value for Money, one is the cheapest and the longest.
Yeah, so I think the next one category though, so that's a point for you, Darren.
Yep.
So that's a point for you. The next point is probably going to be more widely argued, which is most entertaining.
Shall I start?
Is it because you're not gonna? It's not gonna win.
No,
I'm not getting any points this round, guys. I'm not getting any points this episode. Here I was thinking I was safe, and now I can't win any points.
I want to start this by saying, despite the comedic tone I took with it, this game's fun.
Yeah.
It's a good game. It's real fucking like B-tier stuff.
Right.
It's made by a company called Frogwares, who are famous for making Sherlock Holmes games.
Oh, it is the same people.
Yeah.
Okay, because a lot of people really like those Sherlock Holmes games.
But like, as I sort of got into earlier, doing the detective side of this is a lot of fun. Like, you generally start with a clue, and it's a very open-ended clue. And you'll look at it and it'll say, like, oh, you need to go and talk to so-and-so. I'll be like, okay, they're here, so I'll go talk to them. And then they give me a clue that says, or like one of them in that same one when I was talking about the diving equipment, it said there were people going around recruiting for this boat called the Titania.
Right.
And
the Titanic.
The Titanic. And the part of the feature of the detectiving in this game is you have what's called the archive system.
Right.
Where you'll go into a building, you have to go into the relevant building, and there'll be an archives thing you can interact with. Mm-hmm. And you put a certain clue into it, and you have 4 categories. And it's like subject, time, topic, and location.
Oh, and just when you said you got the different breakdowns, subject first, were you then going like object? Were you creating a sentence for your teaching?
That'd be fun.
Subject, object. Going that way.
Like,
I got a feeling not.
No. But it's like I take that. It was like it's in the. They're recruiting around the dockyards. Mm-hmm. So I put like I'm looking for an advertisement from recently in the dockyards, and it will give me the piece of information that says, oh, they were recruiting around Pier 3 in the docks. Right. So I then have to go to Pier 3 in the docks, collect the information there. I find a piece of evidence that says there was one survivor who's taken to the hospital. I go to the hospital, and it's sort of dotting around like that.
I felt bad because I was going to say, what, there were 3 people peeing in the docks? Because you have to, I felt bad as soon as I thought of the joke, and then I still felt the need to say it. I do apologise.
I feel like you should feel bad because what happened at the docks, they went mental and killed each other.
Oh, see, once again, you are so bloody insensitive. You just don't deal with death well.
No.
But
I don't.
the problem is that
too well.
is all a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The actual mechanics of playing the game
Right.
are a bit ropey.
Okay.
Right.
The movement doesn't feel quite right. I worked out halfway through my time playing it that it has a sprint button on R2, which helped a lot.
Yep.
Because you walk slow as fucking sin. There is shooting. It's not good. Because every enemy...
Sorry, there's shooting, but R2's already been mapped to sprint.
So R2 is also shoot if you're aiming down sights.
Okay. Basically, hold R2 at all times.
Yeah.
Okay.
The game makes a big deal about how bullets are important. Bullets are basically taking the form of currency, much like Metro.
Right, yeah.
But all of the enemies move around with such asshole movement patterns that you waste all of your ammo and then are fucked. The game actively sets up its challenge and then designs itself to be an asshole about that challenge. And, like, the detective bits are fun. The bits around that are okay. Like, there's a lot of scavenging stuff. Like, you need to go around and scavenge to make bullets, which you can then use as essentially your currency. But the scavenging is really hard to do without using a lot of bullets to kill the things that are in there. So you can then get materials to make less bullets, which you then waste on an enemy that won't fucking sit still.
At the moment, what you're describing there means it probably should be most accurate for religion. It looks all right on the surface, but as you get
It's frustrating as you get
frustrated and you're treated worse and worse.
But it's like, I found a lot of love in it in just how it's built as a world. The world is so fascinating because it is a city completely falling apart in the throes of what is basically the apocalypse, and nobody seems to care.
I mean, it's weird, isn't it? Because you play games like, I suppose, Fallout or anything along those lines, where the things happening, people are still panicking to a degree, and then you go into this where the world is in absolute chaos, and they're like,
You are getting repeatedly discriminated against because you're an outsider, and there are literal fish people. And they're like, yeah, he's fine, but you fucking newbie.
But he's been here for years. He didn't used to look like that, but it's fine. You are different.
Well, I looked this up, and like the fish people thing is based around a Lovecraft story, and basically what it is they come around by people fucking the deep ones.
Right.
And in the story it comes up with, that is like the big reveal.
Okay.
And in this, they basically just say that immediately. And then go, yeah, there's fish people, they were fucking the gods or whatever, they're alright.
So how long has this place been flooded?
Oh, a little while. It hasn't been like permanently flooded forever.
It feels like these fish people have grown up very quickly.
But he's basically rocked up like a little ways after, I think. People are aware that it's happened, and you get into an area which isn't infested, and people are just rolling around like it's a regular fucking day. And they're like, yeah, the flooding's pretty bad. I don't go in the infested area anymore, but you know, still got to go to the shops.
Nice.
Still got to go to work.
Still got a 9 to 5.
Yeah, fucking exactly.
So
My manager's a fish person, so, you know.
Yeah, I know. In fact, it's probably made more jobs. There's a lot of people who work with brooms now, just keeping water out.
Yep. There's those lovely fishermen sitting on the side of their flooded building.
Getting ready to fuck whatever they pull out by the sounds of it to fish people.
Like, it's fun. It's not groundbreaking. In like the spirit of we do our freebies episode, if this cropped up on the bottom half of like PS Plus list, I'd be like, fuck
give it
it.
a go.
Yeah.
I'll give that a go. I'll have a good time with it.
I have to be honest. I bought it. It's one of those sort of games that's sort of on the peripheral that you wouldn't necessarily go for or think about getting. I thought it's something a bit different. It might be. It's a dart throw. It might be bullseye. I might hit the fucking outside the board.
It's one of those games where it stoked like a memory in the back of my head where I watched a very short review of it like 3 years ago when it came out, and I read the title and I went, why is this familiar? Why do I know this name? And I went and looked up the review after playing like 2 cases, and he said, much of the same.
Right,
and I was
fair
like,
enough.
oh, okay, yeah, it's not me being a dick, it's just the game.
That's fair enough.
But yeah, it's fun. It's nothing groundbreaking. Having played all 3 games on offer, don't think it really holds up to the other 2.
That's fair
but it's still well worth playing.
So again, it's going to be between God of War and Cult of the Lamb, and I think there's going to be a lot of discussion between the 2. I'm going to go first because I'm taking.
All right, fuck you then.
Do you want to go? Go for it.
No, it's fine. You said it now.
So Sinking City, maybe it should win. No. I got nothing else to
Go
say.
for your
Okay.
one. Just to
Long
keep you
story
awake.
short, this is yes, sorry. Long story short, this is probably one of the most entertaining games I've played. I think the story is amazing. The variety of enemies and people that you come across is enough to keep you wanting to go and see what's going on. Like, I know I'm very near the end now and I'm still coming across like enemies that I haven't come across before, enemy types that I haven't come across before. I think the combat is one of the most entertaining bits in it, just because it feels really solid and it feels really good, and the way that you build your skills up and the way that you build up the different things that you can do is very good. And I don't really have a bad word to say about it. I just think it's a really gripping story and a really gripping world to be a part of, and it doesn't get boring ever.
I think God of War undeniably is one of those games I think is a lot of people go as game of the year when it came out.
Yeah.
When it was up against, I think it was up against Red Dead Redemption 2 that same year, was it?
Yeah.
Because I think it was 2018. I think they both did. It is a phenomenally made game. It's very much a action RPG in the fact that it's very much linear. There is a little bit of branching off, but it's not massive go off, do whatever you want to do. It's not a it's not an Elden Ring. It's not a Breath of the Wild. It's not one of those big open worlds. The combat in it, I think, is its big saving point. Is its combat. Its combat is brilliant. It feels meaty when you're swinging.
It does feel very meaty.
I didn't like when the what they called the Blades
of Chaos.
Blades of Chaos. I didn't enjoy the Blades of Chaos when they came back.
I quite like the Blades of Chaos.
I very much preferred having.
I'll be honest, I enjoy them more in the sequel.
The sequel, they have a purpose at that point, which is really good. The first and was it the Leviathan axe?
Yeah.
is also
The axe always feels.
the axe feels the best
In this one, like the blades are clearly there for like plot
Nostalgia.
purposes and nostalgia.
Yeah.
But like they're still fun to play with.
It's often,
Yeah.
Set shit on fire.
I think the story is really nice in this game. I think it's really good. I do think the problem is, though, it's not. This isn't for everyone. It's a long game.
Yes.
It's very narrative driven.
It is.
Yeah.
I know it took me. I think I had 4 attempts before I finally managed to actually start getting into it deep.
I had a couple.
It's something about it. I do know that you had the same issue. It just didn't grab me to start off with, and I was just like.
I understand what you mean, only because obviously I've gone back into this because I was bought it, and I started playing it last year. I think I was talking about it on the podcast as the game that I was playing. I really enjoyed it, but then I did get sidetracked by other things because the story is so long.
It wasn't even sidetracked by the things. It just didn't do enough for me. And I think I gave up at like when I met the serpents, the world serpent and stuff. Yeah. So I would say it's a couple of hours into the game, and at that point I was still like meh. And there was something about it. I don't know. The 4th time I played it, I started again from the beginning. It worked for me. I don't know what it was. It just worked.
I remember playing it because I got it for my birthday and release. Mm-hmm. And I played like 2 hours of it and went, "Oh, this is a big game." And then I stopped for a bit.
Yeah.
And it was one of those where like I knew it required the commitment and the full focus and the full engagement. And I'm like, I will get back to you.
Yeah.
And then I did, and I loved it. But that is the one thing with it. It's so heavy and it's so like dense in what it is that you need to be on board with that from the word go. It's not a game you can ease into and wait for it to catch you.
No. And that's not to say it's a bad thing. I think it's the journey you get out of God of War is one of the best you'll get in a game. I just don't think it's as friendly to everyone. I like, for example, I know your parents play a bit of gaming. Your parents game a little bit. Your dad's obsessed with Destiny and that sort of thing. But your mum wanted to play a few more games like this. And I know she struggled with it.
Did,
But so those that really want the story but potentially not gamers are going to struggle because of it. Even if you lower the combat just because there's a lot of different movesets. I think it's intuitive for me, but I think it's built for a gamer.
It is.
That's the case.
It is the gamer's game.
Yeah, and that's why it works. So, that would be my sort of slights on it. But overall, I think it's hard to critique such a good game, and it is a really good game. It's just whether I think entertaining's the right word, or whether it's like, enthralling, or how. I think we're going to have to get into minutiae to work out who wins out of these two. Cult of the Lamb. It was one of my game of the year. It was actually higher than the follow-up to God of War last year.
Yeah.
It's just weirdly done. I think this is a superb, cozy game.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a game that I did say, I think, earlier, like maybe not February. free plays one after I'd got the platinum for it. I was like, oh, it did lose a little bit for me, and I think it's because I pushed through for the platinum rather than just enjoying it at a fun, slow pace. I think the two aspects of this are really good in their own rights. The roguelike fighting, the different weapons you get, the sort of what you're going to be going against, the movement makes sense. The role it's simple, it's rewarding. You get something from it. Everything you're doing, you are getting some sort of resources. Like even desecrating bodies early on, just because you're swinging and slashing, you're getting those bones. You don't really know why you collect them, and then later you can use it for a resource that goes. It just everything fits together really nicely, and you're like getting little drips of story. The story itself, although following, I would say, a pattern you fully expect it to go down, I don't think it's anything extraordinary in its story. It's very much by the numbers.
It's all it needs to be.
Yeah, it's all it needs to be.
Yeah.
However, your interaction with your followers is always really fun.
I like that.
The sermons you give, the building, I'm going to build this. A lot of people spend a lot of time building a really aesthetically pleasing cult area. Some people will just dump whatever they need to in there, which I think is you, Darren.
Yeah. bash.
Which I was trying to do, like, all right, this section is going to be for this section is going to be for this bit, this is where we go. But a part of it's really good. I mean, like, I even enjoyed going, all right, I'm back here after being in all day killing things. Now I have to clean poo for a bit.
Yeah.
Because I just have to clean the area because I haven't got to a level to build a sanitation station or anything like that. And you're just like, oh, this is fun. And everything felt rewarding. I think there's a point where you max out all of your traits.
Yeah.
There's going to be a point where you max out all your traits and you just do the cult stuff. Because you have to do the cult stuff just to maintain it, so you don't. Because you do have to maintain it. Because if you don't, you do suffer for it. But really, things sort of hit autopilot. Probably about, I would say, World 4, World 3, somewhere around there.
About the midpoint of World 3, I'd say.
But at that point, you can still go off and do more bits and pieces, and you can really fuck up early on, and you can be struggling to get past World 1 or 2 because you've messed up massively. It's a really cool, fun game, and I think it's a great little cozy game. Well, I don't know if anyone else...
I was enjoying this in the same way I was enjoying, I've talked about this in the podcast before, the game Moonlighter.
Yeah.
Which is like you build up your cult to get further in the dungeons, to get more stuff for your cult, to get further in the dungeons. The problem I had, as you sort of said there, is unless you're sitting around between dungeons with your thumb up your ass, by the beginning to midpoint of World 3, you've run out of bonuses to gain from the cult, and it get real fucking dovetails. And I thought that was a shame, because I really liked how they interacted. Like, you had to keep holding your sermons and like sacrificing people to get your power-ups to get more abilities.
You still need to do your sermons daily, really.
Yeah. But like eventually by middle of World 3, I'd unlocked everything.
Right.
For me and for the cult. I'd built everything.
Oh, I hadn't got that far.
I had like 200 cultists by
really
World 3-ish, yeah. I was just looting them non-stop.
So I had a real issue with I built for my first, I'll talk a bit more about it, but I expanded so quickly I couldn't keep my cult happy. I literally basically got my cult to about 20, or whatever the maximum was, at 50 I had to get to at one point. I got to my 50 and I didn't expand past there because I was losing followers very quickly because I wasn't doing things right. So I do think you must have had a really good system in place there. Because I kept fucking it and I had to really work it to make sure it was a nice balance. And I think that was what I enjoyed, is that I had to do this sort of balancing act of, let's go off here. Oh, let's go find the snails. Let's go and do this. Also, the customization of all the characters. You recruit someone, you find them, you either buy them from a spider that's going to eat them, or you find them on the road, or anything like that. And they come back and you can leave them as they are, or you can fully customize them with different skins. So you can have like a fish person. And it's stuff like that, which you think I think is really good about this game.
Yeah.
But yeah, which is the most entertaining?
I don't know.
And I think the issue is a hard one to argue.
The thing is, I feel like this is ultimately going to come down to you two to make this decision, only because I have only played God of War. You have both played both.
You've only played God of War, you've heard what this is, and Cult of the Lamb gives you the point. So, like...
So I feel like this is down to you two.
Entertaining-wise... Which of these... there's different things. If I had to just go, right, I've got an hour to kill, I'm just going to go chill out, it's definitely Cult of the Lamb. There's not a doubt in my mind. I've got a day to play a game, I'm going into God of War because I've got the time. They're two completely different styles of game that will benefit people.
Yeah. I Not just because it works out for me. I think I'm going to err on the side of God of War.
Okay.
Purely because as I said, I did sort of lose love for Cult of the Lamb because I thought it ran out of steam towards the end. God of War I found entertaining for 50 hours. Do I think I would find Cult of the Lamb entertaining for 50 hours? I'm not sure.
No.
I think I'd sort of run out of its gameplay cycle by hour 15.
So yeah, I'm the opposite with God of War, where I had no I had nothing for it at the beginning for a long time, and then I eventually got into it.
Yeah,
which is why I would be erring potentially to Cult of the Lamb, which feels insane. And that's not me saying that maybe Cult of the Lamb is a better game than God of War, because I think that's a crazy statement to say. Which is
that's the thing. I think God of War is the better game, but if you asked me, like, if I had to sit down now and start one again, I would probably start Cult of the Lamb.
Yeah.
Not necessarily because it's more entertaining or like the better game, but as you say, it's easier to jump into. But if you're like, you have to play one of these long term as like a project game, I'm probably picking God of War because I think I'll get more out of it in the long term.
Yeah.
I think the fairest thing to do here, guys, is to make it a tie between the two, just because they are two.
We can't split them.
They can't split them because they are very much. Unless we wanted to go, Keris make a deciding vote, and then she'll just vote for Cult of the Lamb to give herself a point.
I don't feel like I'd want to vote though. It's like it's the same thing as you said. I don't want to compare them because I haven't played that one.
Yeah. I think we need to. I think we split this. I know this is not. It's a little unsatisfying, but I think they are both the most entertaining in their own field.
Yeah.
It's just they are completely different styles of games.
This is the thing. Eventually, normally, someone splits. Someone is like, fair point. Yeah. This, I don't think... I think we could talk for the next hour, and I don't think we would make a divide.
No.
Yeah.
Because they are both vastly, vastly entertaining games in different ways.
Yep, definitely. Cool.
Yeah.
So we split the point there. That means you're both on 2.
Yeah.
Which means either of you could win.
Yeah.
I cannot. This episode.
I don't.
Sorry, Sinking City.
My play of the game is not that great.
Yeah, so we'll be moving on to the last one, which is where we will be fighting for points by what we have done, which is play of the game.
Play of the game.
And I'm going to let the people who are leading first go first. So.
Do you know what? I think I'm going to change mine.
Oh, okay. Go on then. Go ahead. You go first.
I was originally.
I changed mine. I'm voting with Cult of the Lamb in the last section.
I was originally going to go for something that was a bit funny and everything, but I actually think I want to do one.
What was the one you were going to go for?
So the one that I was going to go for, but I'm not going to now, was just before you fight a dragon. I thought, fuck, I'm going to have to fight this dragon, and so I'm looking in caves for like resources and stuff, right? Making sure I've got like health, I've got this, I've got that. And round the corner, this fucking bastard knight walks round the corner, right?
Walks round?
Massive. And I'm
walks round
the corner. He's like, all right, mate, what are you doing in my cave? And
it's a great Norse.
Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck? So I didn't know what was going on. And then the fucker attacks me. So I'm like, all right, Jamie fucking go.
I mean, overly not shocking in a game of God of War.
And I swear to God, I couldn't beat this fucking... This is the Yellow Knight it's called, right? I swear to God, I took 3 days of trying to knock this fucker out and I couldn't do it. And I was screaming, sweating, throwing up, shitting. I was throwing my controller around. I was fucking feral. And I said to Josh, listen, come and have a go.
And then she couldn't beat the boss either.
What? It's like you flipped the switch in my brain then. My whole body
Just hard reset you.
Yeah. And it took me a minute and I was like, what the fuck?
So yeah, it took 3 days of you being...
It took me like 3 days. I couldn't get past it. And every time I tried to like avoid the cave, it wouldn't let me avoid the cave. I had to go in the cave. So I said to Josh, listen, I can't do this. Like, can you come and give it a go? And you knocked it out in about 5 seconds flat. And I was like, what the fuck?
To be fair, I hadn't played God of War for a while, so I couldn't remember the buttons fully. So I was like, which one's which one's for this? And yeah, just throw and spin this blade back to me over and over again. Yeah,
that's the way.
Yeah.
So what was your actual play of the game then?
So my actual play of the game, which I'm kind of I don't know, I'm kind of gutted I didn't go for that one now because it's quite funny. But
well, fuck it.
I wanted to go for something that like was the first time that I kind of thought, oh my god, this game is like is a fucking spectacle, and I thought it all the way through. But this was a moment that I actually really have with games where I'm like, whoa, this is so fucking cool. And it's the first time you see the world serpent. Oh my God. And I remember getting to this point and the world serpent comes up. And I think I was just like literally like just staring at the screen because I was just like, this is insane. This is so beautiful. This is so well done. And just everything about that scene was just magical. And it was a feeling of like total awe over a game that I haven't had before.
I think it's the sound, the voice of the world. So it really adds that sort of gravitas to that situation.
Yeah, it was just
awesome.
Beautifully done. And I just think that rather than going for something funny, I just wanted to... That was the point where I was playing the game where I thought, oh yeah, this is really fucking good.
It's weird, like God of War. I think the moment, on the reflection, the moment that... I know it wasn't even when I didn't fall out of love with it. It's the very beginning, and it's the first thing you do in the game is just when you're on the pause at the start screen and you press play and he just moves his hand from there and you're straight in, and I was like, fuck it.
And I mean,
because it's a one-shot game, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's one shot of you.
Yeah.
There's no cuts or anything.
There's a few moments like that. It's like when
awesome.
you go to Freya's house the first time. That's beautiful. That when you're in the little boat telling stories with Atreus. And you can see like all the mountains and the statues and stuff, and there's so many good moments in it that I just thought, oh my God, this is beautiful. But the world serpent really gave me chills, gave me absolute chills.
Darren, can you beat that with yours?
Okay, minus the story of how I had the most me problem ever. Backed myself into a fucking corner following a trophy guide. So this game has like 45 trophies and 42 of them are missable.
Oh, right. Yeah,
because
that
there
sounds
are
right.
specific shit you have to do during each specific mission. So what I'd do is I'd scroll down and I'd see at the top, this can be completed in mission so-and-so. And I go, awesome. And then you find a bunch of those and you go, I'm now in mission so-and-so. I'll just keep an eye on these.
Yeah.
And one of them is a trophy called Curiosity, where you get a bottle with a scratched out label on it and you take it to the university, and the guy behind the counter is like, yeah, I could analyse that for you to work out what's in it, but there's fucking monsters in the basement. Can you go deal with them? I'm like, yeah, bud, no problem. And then I look at the trophy guide.
It currently feels very much like a D&D campaign.
Yeah. I look at the trophy guide. Well, fucking how we normally play, it will sound a bit more like a D&D.
Right, okay.
So I go down, I kill all the things, and I'm like, brilliant. I look at the trophy guide, and it's like, why are you down there? There's this red button on the wall. And how you get the trophy.
What it says in the trophy guide? While you're down there.
Well, it's like you get this quest, you go down and kill the things, and then on the wall there's a red button.
Okay.
And you press it 3 times, and the trophy unlocks. And I go, cool, awesome. I assume it's going to wake up this monster on the table.
Yeah.
Which looks quite weak. Looks like I could deal with it. And I go, easy. And I mash it 3 times, and a fucking hulking great thing on the other side of the room wakes up. And I'm like, well, fuck me. Bye. So I hop back out of the room, I go up and I talk to the guy behind the counter, and he won't give me the next bit of dialogue. And I clock that's because his basement is still not clear of monsters.
Oh my God.
I've just woken one up.
Yeah.
And so I look at the trophy guide and it says like, it's easier to let it kill you than to waste all the bullets to try and kill it.
Right.
And I'm like, easy.
Yep.
Easy. I let it kill me. We go back to before I press the button. Simple. I go downstairs. I let it kill me. I respawn on top of the stairs. I talk to the guy. He does not speak to me.
Because there's a save when you've gone back up.
Yep.
Oh, no.
So I go back downstairs and it's still alive. And I'm like, well, fuck me. So I spent, I think, like 10 minutes hiding around a corner. Like, duck out, ping a shot, run away. Duck out, ping a shot, run away.
It does feel
Killed
like
it.
Darren's...
Finally went up and he was like, yeah, I can do it now. I'm like, I feel like in the guide it should say, don't leave or talk to him before you wake it up, idiot. But I was just like, oh yeah, I'll just follow the instructions, press the button, wake it up, let it kill me. Oh no. I know how to actually fight it.
So, yeah, that does feel like...
It's a very me thing to do.
Cool. Right, that's the 2 actually fighting for it. Cult of the Lamb, play of the game. Multiple things could be play of the game here. I liked creating all the different names so that people will call each other stupid names. I really enjoyed the first interaction of me one of the followers, because the followers come up to you and they ask for you to do things for them, like, oh, can you go find extra followers? They've fallen on the road. Make sure you can bring them in and look after them. Stuff like that, which is fun. Then the first one who runs up to go, hey, I don't like Joseph. feed him poop, and you have to make a meal of poop for him so that they get sick. And you're like, and then you give it to the person, they throw up there, they're unwell, and then the person goes, ha ha ha, we played a good joke on him, didn't we? And you're like, yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. And then you have to clean that mess up. I tend to find that those tend to escalate. That person keeps going after that person. And he's like, feed him poop again. He's like, oh, do you know what you should do? You know, you sacrifice that person, feed him a person. Like, what the hell are you doing? Like, chill out.
How quickly does it go from poo to person?
Very, very long time.
Is that a natural progression?
I mean, there's only two bad things you can really feed people, which is poop and people.
Yeah, no fair.
Rules to live by.
That is same words to live by.
Yeah.
That's why I don't eat
Don't
at
feed
McDonald's.
people poop, don't feed people people.
But the play of the game I'm going to go with is on my first run where things got very much out of hand. People can dissent and they can start calling you a liar and a heretic, like you're a false god, you know, and they're like screaming and shouting. This happened with one person. I was like, oh fuck, I haven't got enough to build a stocks to then put the person in. So I then went off to get enough stuff to build a stocks. By the time I came back, there were 2 people doing it, but I only had enough resources to build one stock. So I built one stock, put one guy in it, and told him off. And then I said, I'll be back, and I'm now going to have to go get more resources to build the next stock. So I went off to get more. The next time I came back, there were 3 of them, but I only had enough to build one stock. And I was like, oh no, this isn't going well at all. So I then did a sermon, sacrificed one to try and bring the numbers of dissenters in line, but that just set the other people off more upset.
Oh my god.
I was like, all I'm doing is just knocking over more and more mistakes. And in the end, I had the whole crew, like basically everyone was against me. I was like, I'm gonna have to start a new cult. I'm gonna have to start a new cult.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I feel that.
I love the thought that you were like, yes, I've got enough for the stocks, let's get this kind. And then there's 2 others there and you're like, fuck.
Oh, it's just
You get there and you go, I've got it for you. The other one puts up behind him like, surprise, bitch.
It was.
Bet you thought you'd see the last of me.
It was literally. I was talking as well. He just steps to the side, like 3 are behind him, like, and you're like, oh
Only cue.
Oh my god. No, me too.
But it was just one of those moments, and it was like early in the game. I was like, "This is something that's really got me."
Christ.
And it's this,
so good.
But this game is full of great moments like this, and you're just like, "That's brilliant." One of the most upsetting moments is there was the dog man that you have to deal with, and like I made a real big thing in my second one. I only sacrificed people for when I had to, because you have to do it a couple of points. But I basically let them grow old, and then I let them die, and I buried them nicely.
Yeah.
I was a really nice cult leader, and you're working with this dog man, and you have to do all this to get something, and he makes you sacrifice one of them, and he picks one at random, and it was my husband, and I was like, no, I don't want to kill my husband. But I will go with the stocks thing, because that was my play of the game, and it was a brilliant moment, and you can give the points to me now, because that is the best play of the game.
I actually do want to give it to you.
Partly for that, because that is an amazing story, and partly in the spirit of the guy who wants to feed his mate poop.
Yeah.
Because genuinely, I've hoped this entire episode you'd bring him up. Because it's the funniest fucking part of that game, where he runs up and goes, hey,
Good joke.
feed him poop.
You're like, what?
The thing is, you go like that, I went, yeah, right, bud, solid. Make some poop, give him a bowl, wait till he throws up, I go back and he goes, good joke, I'm like, fucking right.
You do it, I do everyone's side missions, because I'm like, you want help, I'll help you out, even if it means hurting other people.
I love that guy to pieces, though. It makes me laugh every time you come back and he goes, hey, I'm like, oh, right.
I thought you were saying...
You idiot.
I genuinely thought you said, and in the spirit of this, not just because the guy who poops, it's because we split the votes, both me and Keris get a point, and you get nothing, Josh.
Oh, I love the stock story as well. I love the spirit of, there's one guy, I'll get precisely enough for one set, and all will be well. Yeah, back you're like, fuck.
I'm just not thinking it through at all.
I love it. I think that's phenomenal.
Brilliant.
Sorry.
So yeah, at the end of this episode, Keris has 2 points, Darren has 2 points, Josh has 1 point, which means there's a point to everyone, which means I think me and Darren are on the same
we're
point.
now
Are now tied, and Keris is only 1 point behind us, which means I wasn't safe. Because there are 2 more episodes left. Theoretically now, I could still not be safe. So, although I thought everything was good, it's all going to probably come down to the last episode, unless...
Nobody expects the split vote.
Unless Keris absolutely fucks it. But yes, that is the end of this one. But before we go, we do need to work out what we will be doing on the next
Yes.
fight episode. It's not the next episode, but the next fight episode. So for that, we will hand over to our lovely assistant in the spangly leotard
Yep. The last few
fire up
episodes.
the random genre generator.
The last few episodes, I come into this really just full of gusto because I'm really excited for the next one. And now, boys and girls, I'm fucking concerned.
Okay. Is it more problematic than religion? Because I actually think this didn't go too poorly.
It's not problematic. It's a real, what the fuck are we going to buy? And how the fuck is it going to work out topic.
Oh God. Okay.
Because
Is this one I came up with?
Our next episode's topic is life sims. Which is so broad and yet so full of garbage.
It really
There's
is.
so many good things. Like, as a bit of a peek behind the scenes, we have both life sims and job sims on our list. And if job sims comes up later, splitting how we decided what goes here and what goes there is a real question.
I'm not looking forward to this topic. You
No,
are
right?
God.
Oh, what a way for us
also-
to split across 3 people next episode.
Also, for another hint behind the scenes, I drew it, went, can I lie? And I drew it again. It was the same topic.
Oh my
So,
God.
fucking we're stuck with it.
Jeez. Okay.
Life sims.
I mean, outside of Sims,
Honestly, wouldn't this be a great
Board
time for
game life, but the game version.
I Am Jesus Christ to come out?
Yeah.
it's Steam only and it's in the 4th quarter of this year, so it's unlikely.
That's a hell of a life sim.
Yeah, it is. I think this is going to be a really...
It's a tough one.
Oh, man. Can I do that? That's a really stupid reason to go for it, but it'd win on every other topic. I've thought of something that is really stupid.
Cool.
And I think I might have to lean into it. Who am I buying for? For Karis this time.
Karis, yeah.
Oh, she'll love it.
Oh God.
Brilliant, but that brings us to the end of another episode. Thank you all for coming along for this. For this another fight one. It was actually quite a chill fight one.
It was.
Maybe religion's a good thing.
Maybe the nice weather has calmed us.
Don't think so.
Maybe.
Maybe Karis was asleep for most of it, which is why it wasn't so fighty.
Karis cocking
Actually,
herself out by
just
the into the genre.
Cocking myself out and dissociated for the entire episode.
And still won.
She was conk-kneed.
To be fair, she pulled a classic Paul where
Yes.
she said not much and we just somehow the points ended up with her.
Yep. Very much the case.
What a mess.
But yes, do check us out on our socials, which is at DiscountPod. That's 2 C's. And that's on Instagram. Do check us out on our individual ones, which is Discount Josh, Discount Darren, Discount Keris, all with 2 C's and discount. We are also on Twitch, which we stream 3 times a week. On Mondays and Fridays, we do legacy streams, which Darren is doing Kingdom Hearts 2, I believe, at the point this is coming out.
Should be.
I'm probably still doing Dark Souls. I don't know how long that's going to take me. And Keris is now on to the Resident Evil games. How funny. Which will be lots of fun.
Yeah.
And then on Wednesdays, we do episode games. So these episodes will be streamed partially. So you get about 3 hours, a little taster of what these games are to see what your opinions would be.
Keris will
If you
finally
had
pick
them.
up the lamp.
Yeah. And
Have a lovely time.
I'm really excited for
can't
it
wait
now.
for you to play the first
Play
God
first
of
bit of God of
War.
War, yeah. Hell yeah.
What a weird stream that's going to be. Who's
know.
going to come along to that?
Me.
You, yeah.
I have to.
And we're also putting all these episodes up on YouTube. So if you do want to see what we look like, hopefully the video is working, come along, check that out. We also put all our streams from Twitch are on there as well. So they are slowly going up. By the point this has come up, we are almost up to date.
Hell yeah.
Almost up to date. But that's everything. Anything else you want to say, guys?
No.
No, I'm ready for bed.
You ready for bed? Right, I'll try and find a sleeping sim just to make sure that you definitely get what you
Love
want
it.
there. But that's everything. So we will catch you all next time. Thank you for being our player 4s. And that's it. Laters.
Bye bye, everyone.